Hey, what's up guys, Jay here and welcome back to another episode on the My Team Career Mode here in F123 for episode 20 today for the Bahrain GP after we set up everything in the last episode for pre-season. If you haven't seen that one, highly recommend you go and check that one out. Crazy transfers and brand new livery which does look very different from our last season's livery, but it does look, in my opinion, a lot better. But that is just me. We ended season 1 with 2 victories under our belt, and honestly, if I have to say, I did have a test in the car, so there's only 2 practice sessions here. But I did have a test in the car for practice 1, that's why there's no footage of it. But the car is pretty quick, and I do think we can challenge for wins like we did last season. So hopefully we can anyways. But enough about last season, let's focus on this season, because that is where it is the most important. Where we can end this season, where we can start this season. Anyways, I think we have just leveled up to level 16 acclaim, or even not just now, but we will by the end of this weekend. But now where it all lies, qualifying for this race, determine where we start on the grid for Sunday's race. Hopefully we can start the season well, and hopefully we can start qualifying well, but it all comes down to how fast the car is and how confident I feel around Bahrain. Not one of my more favourable circuits on our calendar. We are going to Portugal later on in the calendar year, so that will be a very, very interesting race, as it is one of my personal favourite tracks, as it is so flowing and it's almost like a roller coaster fall. The elevation changes, so that will be again a very interesting race. But for our qualifying just now, the car doesn't feel overly I don't know what sort of it, doesn't feel, braking feels a wee bit off, but after our first lap we are going to cross the line to go 14th, and for our first run 14th isn't the worst in the world. It would get us out of Q1, but I'm not just looking to get out of Q1, I'm looking to set a good time, as we've got traffic and that's just ruined my whole entire lap. Oh god. I don't even think there's any point of trying to go for a lap. There's a lock up there, that's lost my time. As I encountered massive traffic with Tsunoda, he went over the curb and just didn't want to slow down the car while rocketed over that car and then tried to go back to the racing line. So there's no point in me even trying for this lap, but I am anyways. Unless somehow the only way I improve my time is cutting corners, which I'm not going to do. Logan Sargent had the near enough same mistake as Yuki, but just on a different turn there, not as big of a curb though, and well, 6 cars this year, sorry, with the new regulation changes, might be what's different with them. It's a bit heavier than last season. That might be upgrades, to be honest, but you never know. But 4 tenths up on our time near enough as we come around the final turn. On my 3rd lap we're down into 17th. Where can we go? We're 4.5 tenths up. We are going to cross the line to go. Can we get out Q1? Gonna go 14th, and that will get us out of Q1. Car do not feel amazing. Definitely need to improve downforce for the turns. As the car felt like it was getting away from me a wee bit down the straights. I think we need a wee bit more straight line speed. I might balance out the car. Teammate gets knocked out in Q1. Not literally not that far from Q2, But it is what it is. Teammate gets knocked out. All we can do is focus on how we can go for Q2, and if we can possibly get up into Q3, that is the goal, and that is hopefully where we will end up. But all we have to do is try our best to get good laps in. We do set green sector 1 and 2, that's obvious, but that is our first lap here in Q2. We're going to cross the line, go third fastest, 7/10 off on Max Verstappen's time. Lando Norris is straight up there as well. McLaren's look rapid, as they were pretty fast last season, but they look absolutely rapid so far at the start of this season. But we are going to come around the final turn now. We are going to come down the straight. We're going to set a time. We go up into 4th, 8/10 off on our time. Not a bad lap at all by any stretch of the imagination, but I think I can pull just a wee bit more out of the car if we go for another run, but we don't, and that is what got us out of Q2. We are 11th, half a second off of Q2. 5 place grid penalty for Mr. Fernando Alonso, who is still in that McLaren and still putting in good times, showing that he can still go with the age that he is. Proven age is just a number in Formula 1. But we are going to have to fight from 11th on the grid, so let's go to
the real deal, and it's make or break here at round 1 of this year's Formula 1 World Championship. Formula 1 returns to the desert today on this exceptional 3.36 mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities, and it could be a strategic race, this one, with Sakhir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some point during the Grand Prix. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position. And the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Hamilton, Perez, Liam Lawson, Tsunoda, Iceman, Ocon, Fernando Alonso, Albon, Bottas, Magnussen, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, Sargent, Stroll, Joe, Iwasa, and Nick de Vries. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
And we're into those 10th.
So lining up on the grid now, we're going to be in 10th. We're going to go for the soft medium strategy, just lowering the fuel so we're a bit lighter in the race and not carrying extra fuel that we don't need. But we are going to go to the lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights, and it is lights out, and away we go. It's a bad start for us, but it's an even worse start for Liam Lawson as he's near enough stalled his car. So is Sergio Perez, he's got a really poor start. Let's go down into the turn. We're going to make a big dive bomb on not just Yuki Tsunoda and Lewis Hamilton. We're going to go for the move. We get past Lewis Hamilton around the outside of turn 2, deploying ERS now. Can we maybe try and challenge and maybe overtake Lando Norris through the right hander? We're just going to stick behind him as we go through possibly the most fun turn in Bahrain to overtake at. But we are going to go down into the hairpin now. We're going to dive down the inside of Lando Norris, getting the move. He is going to fight back, so we're going to give him a nice wee push. We have a wee bit of a wobble on the rear end to get past Lando Norris up into 5th position now. As we go down the main straight on lap 2, we're going to make a massive dive bomb on 3 cars there as Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. I couldn't get cars slowed down, but maybe that was a good thing as I dive bomb all of them, getting up into P2 and maybe being able to chase down George Russell, and we might have some decent pace here in Bahrain. Or is this just a fluke and we are having really good pace at the start of the race and then we're going to drop off near the end, as that is what happened in the last season, setting purple sector 1, so that's pretty good. And by the end of the lap we're going to have a green sector 2 under our belt as well, and we might even have a chance to go on to set the fastest lap of the race. Yes, George Russell is on the hard. George Russell comes over us line 1:32.6. 1:32 to reset. Good lap for us. DRS is enabled this lap as George Russell has started to pull away. Just the bit as I've slowed down a bit through the laps as I realised don't have the pace to catch him. But who does have the pace to catch me? It's Carlos Sainz. We go down into turn 1. He's going to try round the outside. I'm going to give him a nice good scrap. He's going to go on the inside line. Lose a lot of traction getting that inside line. We get past them and we're back up into second place, and it does look like we have the pace to defend against the Ferraris. We go wide. Can Charles Leclerc maybe capitalise on that? No, he can't, but here comes Charles Leclerc going for a second opportunity. We're going to block him off into the same turn. We go too wide, taking a really bad line, not being able to slow down the car. We're going to be side by side through the fast leaving section of the lap. We do stay ahead of Charles Leclerc on lap 7 of this race, and he will have to try again. He is going to try again though, right round the outside of turn 1 into the braking zone. We're going to go wide, maybe going for the switchback. It's not going to work. The two Ferraris bang tyres into turn 2, but we keep second place here in this race on lap 9, and we might be able to go on to win this race if George Russell slows down his car just a wee bit, but I don't think that will happen anytime soon as he's in an absolute rocket ship Mercedes. We are going to come into the pits, but as I was saying, George Russell is an absolute rocket ship Mercedes, and this could be Mercedes' comeback season after being beat by Red Bull in 2021, 2022, and now in 2023, all being Max Verstappen. There's a problem on our front right, and now there's traffic with the cars that we have to wait behind, and that's not good for us. Or we are going to come out of the pits in P16 right behind Max Verstappen, who's behind Lewis Hamilton, but we're going to go down the inside, going down into neutral. That's not good. That's lost us so much time in hindsight, and I should have just hanged on behind them, but I wanted to go for the move, get into DRS, and it was a dumb decision for myself, and so I've lost a lot of time to Lewis Hamilton that I could have possibly been right behind him, but because of the pit stops, I might have just shot myself in the foot. Well, Wassa, I think, still has to pit. If I waited instead of dive bombing Max Verstappen, we could have been in 4th after them pit stops and having a chance of a podium by the end of this race. We do have a chance still at podiums. Charles Leclerc at fast lap, as you can see there. Awasa comes into pit, so we're going to go up into 4th position. And again, if I just waited instead of overtaking Max at the start of the race, I could have maybe overtaken Lewis Hamilton and got a podium. But here comes Lando Norris. He is going to try. Sergio Perez, sorry. He's going to try down the inside of the final turn. We're going to be side by side as we go down the straight, and we're just going to cut in front of him so he doesn't get the line down into turn 1. But here comes Lando Norris getting a DRS on Sergio Perez, getting a slipstream off of myself. He's going to try right round the outside of turn 1. It's not going to work though. We're just going to push him wide, just that wee bit extra, so we get a good line out of turn 1 into turn 2, getting back up into 4th, and we keep 4th position from Lando Norris on lap 15 of this race. But on lap 16, here comes Lando Norris once again with DRS, getting past me through the right hand. We go now, gonna try round the outside, same thing Max Verstappen did to Lewis Hamilton at the start of the season in 2021. Ended up getting the position knocked off, and he had to go back behind Lewis Hamilton, but we keep it within track limits for that overtake. But here comes Esteban Ocon in the Aston Martin. Do not expect him to start battling with us. He's going to try up the inside. We're going to try and hang on round the outside, and our chances of a podium are long gone. But we just have to hold on to 4th place now, which is unexpected. Did not expect myself to be battling for 4th, 5th and 6th. But here comes Esteban Ocon. Once again, we're down into 5th. We are going to try round the outside, doing the exact same thing we did a lap before. We're going to go down the inside, getting good traction. Esteban Ocon gets slightly bit better traction. We get DRS because we were behind Esteban Ocon. getting past him on lap 19, and we are going to keep pole position off at Esteban Ocon. But on lap 20, George Russell is going to win the opening race of the season. George Russell wins the Bahrain Grand Prix, and it is going to be a race to the line. Here comes Lando Norris. We are going to cross the line to finish 4th in the opening race of the season. Not a bad result, but as I said, if I waited behind Max for an extra lap or a couple laps, I possibly could have got a podium and our season could have came off to a better start. But George Russell couldn't have asked for a better start, getting the first win of the season and proving that he is in the contention for the title fight against Max Verstappen, and maybe, just maybe, it is George Russell's year in that Mercedes. Mercedes might come back to life and have a second spree of dominance, but it's way too early to judge. George Russell wins the opening race, and as he comes out to celebrate a well-deserved victory, we just have to wonder what could have been. We could have taken where Charles Leclerc stood, but I'm not going to be salty about it. We did get a good result, 4th position, and I will be happy about that, but we will just have to see what we can do in round 2 in Australia. We're going down under for the Australian GP in round 2, but George Russell, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton all celebrate a brilliant opening race for them and a good opening race for ourselves. But again, all we could do is wonder, but George Russell opens up his season with a spectacular victory, leading every lap of this race. An absolute dominant performance put in by the British man. It is a Mercedes 1-2 with Charles Leclerc in 3rd, us in 4th from 10th on the grid. Not a bad race. Fernando Alonso goes up into 9th, and our teammate finishes last as he DNF'd. Oh, Oscar. Well, obviously wasn't his fault. Mechanical issues. Something we might have to work on as a team. But I do hope you enjoyed that episode. I certainly did, starting our season off with a 4th position. There you can see the standings. Obviously, that's the standings because it's only been one race, but as you can see there, some of the races we will do this season going to Portugal will be a very interesting race, but we just have to wait for the next race in Australia. I will see you next time. Bye bye.